Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha. Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapate Namaha. Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara. Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike. Sharanyatrambake Devi Narayani Namostute. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Mahalakshmi Rupena Samstita. Namastasya 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 Namo Namaha. Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Shivaya. Shri Hanumanji Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Namo Hanumate Bhayabanjanaya. Sukham Kuru Kuru Phat Swaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Today is the 20th of October 2025. I want to offer my prostrations, Anantakoti Namaskar, to all the great sages and to Bhagwan, residing in the Hridaya Akash, in the heart of every single being. We are continuing to examine Ashtanga Yoga, the 8-limbed yogic process that is illustrated and defined, explained by Patanjali Rishi in the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali Yoga Sutra or Patanjali Yoga Sutra as it is called. And we are in the second stage now, and that is the Niyama. In the Niyama section, because there's 8 limbs, right? So Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. We're going to go through all of them and connect each of these pieces with the Jivana Mukta, the living liberated state, and along with that, Prema Bhakti. So there's always a triangle, and that's what we're going to do for the remainder of the year, probably into next year also. So in Ashtanga Yoga, there are 5 aspects of the niyamas, and that is Saucha, Santosha, Tapas, Swadhyay, Ishwar, Pranidhan, and so that's the 5th one. Yes, that's Ishwar Pranidhan is the surrender to God. So we are examining Santosha. We started looking at this yesterday. Let's go a bit further, just from where we picked off, or where we left off yesterday. We talked about the fact that, in Santosha, mind becomes a steady lamp. We looked at Bhagavad Gita verse number 19, chapter number 4, where Bhagavan Krishna talks about this, Deepa Eva Stitaha, that is the steadiness of the lamp, that our mind is extremely steady. Our internal world is very steady. So Santosha is that very beautiful quality of contentment, satisfaction. So to kind of pick up on additional connections with this from yesterday, that there are 4 major yogic insights with regards to Santosha. And there are modern psychology correlates, and then we'll look at the effect. We'll look at this carefully. The first one is non-attachment to outcomes. There are always outcomes in life. We perform action, and there's an outcome. We perform a karma, there is a result. That's the way life goes. That's the entire life is like that. There are outcomes again and again and again for everything we do. Every moment of our life is karma. Bhagavan Krishna has taught us, and we know this from our own experience. Nobody can live in this world without performing action. You cannot just sit in one place for the rest of your life. No. There's movement, there's action, there's activity, and there are outcomes to our actions. So the yogic insight with Santosha is that beautiful quality of contentment, satisfaction, inner steadiness, is that outcomes, whatever they may be, one is not stuck with those outcomes. One is not trapped inside those outcomes. One is aware there's an outcome, there is activity to be done, what are the next steps? But the internal entanglement is the word we've been using that word for a while. That is not there. Right? So the non-attachment to the outcome, one has to be careful. That doesn't mean that one is careless. You could say that, I'm not attached to the outcome. hence I don't care what happens. No, well, that's not what it is. One has to be careful. One has to care. One has to know what is the outcome. But the outcome is not in our hands. This is a fact. The only thing that is in our control by the power given to us by the supreme energy, by Bhagavan, is to perform action, physical, mental, verbal. That's all we have control over. We don't have control over the result of our action. See, that's why Bhagavan Krishna is very clear. We all know this verse. Karmannevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbur mate sangnosva karmani. So that concept is what is talked about here, that the santosha is a quality in the second limb of Ashtanga Yoga. One of the most important qualities. Now, when we have this quality, as this quality develops, there is going to be acceptance. This is what has come. There is steadiness, acceptance. Now, one may not necessarily like what has come, what has come about. Yes, that can happen. Anything can happen, right? If we perform action and the outcome is not what we want. How do we deal with outcomes that we didn't get in life? How do we deal with that? By remaining very, very contented that my satisfaction is inside the Swarup of Paramatma. Mera Anand Bhagwan ke Swarup ke saath hai. That is the real root of the Santosha. Then there is no issue. And this is the reason why Satsanga, Manan Chintan, realization of the way that karma flows. Action flows in different ways. It's going to keep changing. There's a continuous change in the sansar. We know this. There's changes in the body, inside our mind, inside our thoughts, inside our feelings. Everything is changing all the time. So when the quality of santosha, meaning internal contentment, steadiness, satisfaction, is sustained, anxiety goes away. Fear and anxiety go away. Of course, with that quality of santosha, one has a broad vision. That's one of the most important benefits of this quality. That the quality of santosha brings us a vision of what can possibly happen when we go in a particular direction. And we are prepared with what will come, hopefully for the most part. Or don't go in that direction. That's the way life goes. It could be anything, right? It could be the smallest things that sometimes that are going to cause a lot of trouble. Just something like communication. We are communicating with somebody. We speak one sentence, something out of context, something that was spoken with a little bit more aggressiveness or something like that. And that can damage the relationship with another person. One has to be very careful about performing actions. Remember, there are three kinds of actions: physical, mental, and verbal. A more developed way to perform action is through inner satisfaction. That comes from Navda Bhakti, the resonance with the Jivan Mukta Sthiti. The more we're resonating with that, the next series of actions to be done, like today, next hour to hour, day to day, what is to be done is done through santosha. It is done through satisfaction and contentment and steadiness and broad vision. So then the actions are taken very carefully. One of the reasons why people get so trapped and entangled and troubled in life, because there is lack of satisfaction and one begins to act out of fear, out of anxiety, out of impulsivity, out of many different other kinds of emotions, and that causes a lot of damage. That can cause a lot of problems. So how to practice? What is the sadhana? Always we take the mala, Bhagwan ke aage baithna, bring the mind in alignment with the mantra, scripture, take 1 or 2 verses, Bhagwan ki murti hai. Do that. Aim Bij mantra, very, very important. Namah Shivaya mantra, these 2 mantras, in Sachin's humble recommendation for every human being, do these mantras. It will help tremendously. Aim, doing the Aim seed mantra, Mahasaraswati Devi ka Bij mantra hai. Very, very important. What that will do for us, that will bring about the right vision for what is coming up in our lives. And then it will enhance all of the other forms of devotion, everything else we want to do to reach that higher realization, Bhagwan ki bhakti. Right? So, when there is santosha, there is broad vision, 360-degree vision. From that vision, decide to take the right steps. The steps that are taken, 1 step at a time, 1 day at a time, those are taken ultimately towards realizing God, Jivan Mukta Sthiti. They are taken in the practical world to make sure that our lives are as balanced and as harmonious as possible, which we talk about in our angel wing programs. And at the same time, we do not cause disturbance in anybody else's life. Nobody else has the power to cause disturbance in ours. That much one has to have that intimate relationship with God and Guru. Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke Sant. What is the relationship? That on the outside, whatever is happening outside, anything, anybody, any situation, that is not to penetrate inside and damage santosha, damage satisfaction, damage inner steadiness. No. So non-attachment to outcomes is a very big development in any sadhak's life. Non-attachment does not mean lack of attention to it or carelessness. No. You are very careful, aware. May not like the outcome. That's understandable. May like the outcome. That is fine. But one is not stuck, or there's no damage to the santosha inside because of the outcome. Adbhut baat hai ye. Amazing sthiti hai. The second point, the second yogic insight, is a yogic insight. It's a yoga. Yoga means to connect. Gratitude, that state of gratitude as perception training. Perception training meaning what? That we are able to perceive any situation, each situation, with gratitude that it is happening for my development. Gratitude for what is already there in my life. That is the second part. Third is present-centered awareness. Stay in the present moment. What's happening right now? Not to get stuck in the past problems, not to get stuck in the future worries. What do I do now? What is my development right now? What are the next steps to be done now? This is called present-centered awareness. That brings clarity, it regulates emotions, a lot of benefits. This is all part of santosha. And freedom from comparison. That comparison with others, usually within social groups, family groups, all that's comparing with somebody. Kya milega isme? Nothing comes out of that. Compare with yourself. Where was I before? Where am I now? Where am I headed? These are the key points. So what does this do? This leads to a beautiful state of Vairagyam. Vairagya means that the fruits of actions that we get do not damage or affect us in any way. That is highest level of Vairagya. So the yogi acts with full intention, keeping goals in mind, keeping the best outcomes in mind, without craving for the reward or fear of failure. This is all part of the santosh quality. And see, when we open this quality, when this opens inside through bhakti, through sadhana bhakti, through contemplation, by resonance with the quality, it always comes all the way through resonance with the Jivan Mukta Sthiti, living liberation state. This quality comes about by taking steady breaths in and out, by doing a lot of mantra jap, by having a new vision, broader vision, accepting what has happened in the past and not beating up oneself up about that, forgiving oneself, not getting stuck with one's memories or one's events. We are identified with, I did this and this happened, I shouldn't have done this, somebody did this. Kuch nahi, leave it alone. None of that has any significance. This is called Sankhya Vichar. See, that's connected to Santosha also. Gunatitanand Swami Nivato, in that talks of Gunatitanand Swami, the second or third, I think it's the second or third talk, or the quotation. They're basically quotes, essentially, the Vato, or quotations. 7 chapters are there, 7 prakaran. In Gujarati, it is there. It's translated into English also. And you can find the app if you're interested in this. But I'm mentioning this to you. It's a technology. It's a technology. Sankhya Vichar. Sankhya Vichar क्या है? स्वामी जी कहते हैं सांख्य विचार करवा सीखो, सांख्य विचार बगैर अर्धो सत्संग. What that means is we're sitting in front of our इष्ट देवता, भगवान का जो मंदिर है घर में, वहाँ बैठना. Sit with a mala and mantra jap. भगवान का मंत्र करना, 11 rounds, something like that. And then, after doing that, steady breaths, use a Gnan Mudra. And whatever has happened in the past, it is only in memories, it is not there at all. It is there only as memory for guidance. Otherwise, we have nothing to do with it. The only thing from the past that we have anything to do with are the memories about Bhagwan or Bhagwan ke Sant, all those divine memories. Tirtho mein jana, mandiro mein jana, shastro ka abhyas, those memories we want. Other functional memories will remain. But the entanglement inside, I did this, I shouldn't have done this should have happened, that shouldn't have happened. All that mixture that goes on throughout the day, that is eliminated by Sankhya Vichar Sadhana. हाँ, ये बहुत बड़ी साधना है. ये करो इसको. Actually, when we are going to temples, just in Delaware we have Hindu temple, we have ISKCON का मंदिर है, there's 2 Swaminarayan temples, there's others groups, spiritual groups, जहाँ भी जाना है, सत्संग में जाना, beautiful. But if you're going to a mandir, any mandir, I mentioned it before some time back, take some time, take good 2 hours out of your schedule to do this. Then it will be worth going to the temple. You'll actually gain something beneficial out of it, rather than just doing a quick round and just getting out of there as quickly as possible. That's not. Some people are so in a rush to get out of the temple. I mean, what is the rush? Itna kya rush? We go to a restaurant. We have set aside. Now we're going to have a romantic dinner for 2 hours. Oh, why can't you have a romantic darshan with Bhagwan Krishna? We don't think this way. That's why people don't realize God. Bhagwan ke saath sambandh solid banana hai, right? So we want to do that, and if we start doing that, then one of the sadhanas is to go inside the mandir. Nobody will bother. Mandir isi ke liye bana hai. Archan, puja, all those things, you do a little bit of that, is fine. Betna, sit down on a chair or on the ground. Take a asan if you want with you, or they might have in the mandir also. Nobody will bother. You take a mala and then do Sankhya Vichar. Take headphones. If you want to listen to bhajan, take headphone with. Sometimes they have mantras going on also there. Ideally, inside the prayer hall, nobody should be talking, ideally. It's for meditation, really. And for mantras. Mantras, bhajans, in Gujarati we say, Adi avli badi vato na karvi tya, Bhagwan agar. It's very important, right? These are all sadhanas. So Sankhya Vichar is done, you sit in front of the murti. Mandir mein, ghar mandir mein. You can do in nature also. Ishavasya midam sarvam, aap park mein ja bhi kar sakte hai. But how to do the Sankhya Vichar sadhana for Santosha? Sankhya Vichar sadhana, if you're taking notes, you can write this down. Sankhya Vichar, S-A-M-K-H-Y, S-A-N-K, you can use an M or an N there. But it is pronounced as Sankhya. And that is a system of philosophy. So how is this done? You sit with the mala. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Say Shiv Upasana, for example. Or Krishna Upasana. Om Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. That bhav, that feeling. And with that understanding that this past things that we have regrets, shame, blame, blaming others, blaming oneself, yes, burn that out. Let the mantra, speak the mantra in such a way where one is completely removing oneself from that. It has nothing, कुछ लेना देना नहीं इसके साथ. Somebody has said something few years back, we're still thinking about that. इसको छोड़ देना. How to let that go? This is the internal satsang. How to let that go? By sitting with courage, with nishta, with bhakti. Hey Prabhu, I want you in my mind. I don't want this trash inside my head. If that trash is stuck inside, I'm bringing it up again and again. That will destroy santosha. It will destroy contentment. It will destroy my peace of mind. I don't want you inside. The internal reality is to be developed deliberately, consciously, mindfully developed. If we don't develop it, it will just the same rut. It will keep rolling. ऐसा ही जीवन निकल जाता है, समय निकल जाता है, life is destroyed, time is damaged this way, time is abused this way. No. Awake, arise, as Vivekananda ji said. Just get up and wake up from all this nonsense. Get that out completely. Don't waste 1 second even. We don't need that trash inside the mind. Don't let trash come inside and then chew up our bhakti, and don't let our own memories, that in problems in our own memories and past things that have happened, chew up our bhakti and damage our bhakti. Bhakti ऐसी quality है that it has to be protected. Like it is the one quality in life that is to be protected at all costs. At all costs. Do not let anybody, anything, anyone, including oneself, damage bhakti. And when we are in that linkage, sambandha, it is called upasana. When we are in such a linkage, that there is santosha. There is content. And in that santosha, our path towards Jivan Mukti and Prema Bhakti is going to be without any obstacle. Ati sundar baat hai, bahut sundar baat hai. It's because that saundarya is then our own essential nature. Now that doesn't mean we are careless. It doesn't mean we don't experience the multitude of... We experience everything in its own place. Everything has its own kind of experience. But the quality of santosha is not damaged, and one doesn't take actions. One does not take actions to cause disturbances or agitation or problems or entanglements. One doesn't do any of that because there is a 360-degree vision of what will happen if I take this path. If I take an action, speak, sometimes it's just one word we speak to somebody. We know we shouldn't, but my ego wants to say something to somebody. नहीं, इसमें विवेक होना चाहिए. बहुत संभालना वाणी को. वाणी ने घी नहीं पेठे वापरू. બહુ ધ્યાન રાખવું. આપણા જીવનમાં અતિશય ધ્યાન રાખવું કે વાણી કેવી રીતે વાપરી. In Gujarati we say we have to be very, very careful what we are saying to others. Very respectful, limited amount, right amount. But also not like completely cutting off from, not like that. There is a nice balance there. But never use language that will cause somebody else to be hurt. That would, somebody else's santosha will be destroyed that way. We never want to do that. This is why in the Swaminarayan Sampradaya there was a Pujya Pramukh Swami Maharaj, Swami Bapa, as many of you may know. He lived by this statement. He said it all the time. Bijana sukhma apudu sukh. Our happiness is in the upliftment of others, and in the happiness of others is our own happiness. And this is a Vedic idea. It's not something he made up himself. He lived that. That comes from the Vedas, Upanishads. It comes from the Gita. It comes from all the Sat Shastras. All the great sages talked about this. This is what makes a saint. Saint is not by clothes and all these externalities, by quality. Sant ke gun. Or the only barometer is Ananda. So when we use language in the best possible way, with saintliness, using language with saintliness, Vani Vaparvi Sadhuta Yukta Vani Vaparvi. This is Santosha. Radha Jinu Naam, the name of Radha, the name of Shri Radha Rani. Radha, Radha, Radhe, Radhe, or Radha, Radha, you can chant, right? This is a very powerful mantra. And what is this mantra? It is Prema Bhakti. So if we want Prema Bhakti, then Prem is just without any boundary. Sabke saath Prem. And that is the heart of the devotee. It is the quality of the emotion that has transmuted into devotion without any kind of divisiveness. It is devotion without boundary. That is Prema Bhakti. In one sense, it's kitni seedhi baat hai. What is so hard about this? There's nothing hard about this, actually. What is so hard about Prema Bhakti? That it takes millions of lifetimes. It can, if we don't know what we're doing. We're living in that ego space, and we'll never reach that. Ahankar chhod do. Ahankar doesn't have any place in this, except for the functional, interactional, so-called ahankar, ego. That is only transactional. That's it. बाकी भगवान का साक्षात्कार में ये अहंकार का तो कोई स्थान ही नहीं है. Any sense of me versus you versus this versus that, just childish things. Childish. That has to go. And so this is at the level of the words, right? Man, karma, vachan. Our physical body and its actions towards others, towards the sansar in other ways. If it is done without any kind of damage to santosh, meaning to do action through the quality of santosh. I am inside, that quality is me. Steady. Sthita pragnata. All these are the same thing. Sthita pragnata, buddhivan bhakta. You can use any language. Get into that quality. Then you know what will happen also? When whatever others are saying to us, conversing, we are aware of all that. It gets recorded, but there's no disturbance. None. We want to get to the point, to the sthiti of non-disturbance, zero level of disturbance, no disturbance, sustained non-disturbance from inside. We want to get to that. And somebody will say to Sachin here, well, that's not possible. If you say that, then it is not possible. So don't say that. Don't say it is not possible. Say, I'm open to the possibility. Let's try. Let's try it. Let's try it out. Try it one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. Koi bhi udveg nahi. In Gujarati word, udveg antarma nathi. No disturbance inside. None. Start with that. We're sitting in front of the murti, Bhagwan ke saath, mandirum. And make that determination. There's not a tiny disturbance inside. None. Main mukta hi hu. Bas. And then to live in that state, 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 10 minutes at a time. Set it this way. Set your clock. Watch your clock. For the next hour, there's no agitation that I'm going to create for myself. I'm not going to allow it to come inside at all. I'll do my duties. And with ananda continue. This is an internal journey. And then at the mental level, man karma vachan, our thinking gets shuddha. Thinking gets very peaceful. Peaceful thought. Thought continues in a peaceful way. That's interesting. Emotions and thoughts and feelings and our internal activity continues to function through the domain of peace, in that quality, in that Satgun, Sadgun, we say this is a divine quality, Santosha. So we begin to live in that, stay in that. And the more we do that, our mind is open. And what do we fill with that? What do we do with that open mind? Then now we are ready to do Manan Chintan, Shravan Manan, Nididhasana, Sab Brahma Vidya Asakti, other things that we are doing. With an open mind, we can, if just the material world also, the enjoyments are in the right way, the right amount. Everything falls into place. It automatically falls into place because there is attention on not damaging Santosha. Amazing. Amazing. It's absolutely beautiful. बहुत सुंदर बात है ये. And if all we need to do is to understand this very, very, very clearly. So that is prarthana, again, Sachin's prarthana to everybody. If this is not clear, if these points are not clear to anyone online or later on listening to this, send me a message. Let's talk about it. I'll set up a time with you. We can meet on that, or do it in the group if you want. However, get it clear. I'm telling myself first. Sachin has to tell Sachin first that, look, is this clear? Sachin is talking about it. Is it clear inside? How clear is it? 90%, 80%, 100%, 99%? It should be 100% clear. इसको कहते हैं शुद्ध ज्ञान. It will lead to शुद्ध ज्ञान. In Gujarati we say paripurna samjan. Paripurna. It's a total understanding. Not a partial understanding, not a fragmented understanding, a total understanding of each of these qualities. 100% clear hona chahiye ki this is my quality, bas. That is who I, and then with that understanding, and that will develop in time. It doesn't happen just like that. It's going to take some time, but it will happen. And if the understanding is clear, there's one more step to take. That's me. That is the guru inside. Those external gurus, sab mahan guru sab ho gaye, who are there today, they are all having this quality. And that's me. Not the ego, the me. That quality is inside the body, mind, senses, everywhere. This is resonance and absorption. Brahma bhutah prasannatma na shochati na kankshati samaha sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. भगवान की भक्ति में कोई विघ्न नहीं आता. We don't want obstruction in bhakti. And lack of santosha, lack of inner harmony and contentment, what will that do? That will cause obstruction upon obstruction. And then a person starts spinning. They do some sadhana and they're drowning back into this sansar. Spinning, pendulum effect, back and forth, swinging back and forth. We don't want that. We don't want to waste this life doing that. This problem is discussed in Vachanamrut, Garada Ante number 2, Vachanamrut. This swinging problem. Chitta Vibhrantam. Shriji Maharaj talks about that. We don't want that problem. We don't want to stay away from that problem. How to get out of that problem? Get each of these qualities clear. Bring them inside at all costs. Jo bhi hoga, this quality is not to be damaged. Bring it inside. Isme itna anand hai, sthirta hai. And once we begin to get glimpses of that, go into it and let it open completely. Let the quality open completely. This is the internal link with Bhagwan. Bhagwan ki bhakti mein benefit kya? People say, what is the benefit of doing all this bhakti and sadhana? The benefit is that we are going to be freed up from the entanglements and bondages. It's going to clean up our entire internal life. That is the biggest benefit. Because who wants to live the life with all these blockages inside? What good comes out of that? Nothing comes out of it other than pain and rebirth. Right? So to break that through, resonance with this quality. And this is what the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. Such a yogi, Because yogi is what? We think of people with long beards. That's just up chhod do. That has nothing to do with that. Those are all external things. Yogi is one who is in connection with these qualities. The yogi acts with full attention, without craving for reward or fear of failure. It is a state of engaged equanimity. Engagement, activity continues, activity. Equanimity. Equanimity is not damaged. Bilkul nahi. Sthirta rehti hai. And then from that, experiences continue. Experiences shift. Even our internal experiences are so many of different kinds. But the equanimity meaning the internal steadiness, internal clarity, internal lack of damage to internal power and energy. No damage to the internal Shakti happens when there is engaged equanimity. See these two words. A state of engaged equanimity is santosha, is activity through santosha. Such a practice, such a sadhana, breaks the emotional link between effort and anxiety. I'll explain what this means. It's very interesting. Replacing outcome-oriented with process-oriented. We talked about this before. We make efforts in life, right? But we get anxious. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? That anxiety goes away in the quality of santosh. It literally disappears. Because we're focused on the action. And we're performing the action as a karma yoga, offering the action at the feet of Sri Krishna and Radha ji and Ishta Devata, Shiv ji, Parvati ji, Ganesh ji, Jesus, आपकी जो इष्ट है, भगवान तो एक ही है, वो कई दो तो है नहीं, वो तत्व is only one. You're offering the action at the feet of God. That is called karma yoga. ये तो सर्वाणि कर्माणि Mai sanyasya mat para. Again and again, Sri Krishna is saying, you offer everything to me. You don't hold any tension in your mind. Whatever you're doing, you offer it to me. There's no karma accumulated by any of it. In fact, that karma becomes bhakti. When we offer each 1 hour, think of it this way. Right now it's 8:56 a.m. Let's say, for example, we stop at 9:15 today. So from 9:15 to 10:15, I can make a determination that next hour, whatever I'm going to do, I'm offering all of those actions in the next hour at the feet of Bhagavan, at the feet of God. Have you tried to do this? Try it sometime and see what amazing things happen. We'll know immediately where's our vasanas, our egos, our confusions. We de-identify with all those things. And we can offer the 1 hour at the feet of God, at the feet of Bhagavan. We can offer it. We offer flowers and dhoop and deep and all these pujan archan. That is a beginning. It's good. Do it. Bahut acha. But then every action, but at the end of the hour, put a reminder on your phone or on the Alexa device or something like that. Put a reminder there. And then say, Om Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Bhagwan ke charanon mein mentally offer kar de. Hey Prabhu, all this activity is offered at your feet, and may please forgive for any mistakes or any ego driven, because we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes and all that kind of stuff. We ask for forgive. It just takes 10 seconds to do that after the 1 hour. This is called, in Vachanamrut, isko kehte hai, karma matra bhakti roop thayanu. Each action that is karma, it becomes bhakti. And when each action becomes bhakti, that is going to take us leaps forward towards Jivan Mukti through this quality of santosha. I hope these points are clear. Again, we're just doing exposition right now for all of us together to absolutely clear. Itni hi prarthana hai, heart se prarthana मैं आपको करता हूँ, and for myself also. get the concepts absolutely clear. There should not be even the slightest distortion in this or slightest misunderstanding. If there is, it will contaminate the path ahead. Right? So these are a couple of things. We just have 1 more minute left here. There's 2 more points here. Very quickly. There's a whole lot of stuff I'd love to share with you here. We don't have time though. That's all. But 2 important things. It doesn't matter. It's about realization. We've covered enough. Psychological resilience and the elimination of rumination. We ruminate, think. Recognize if this is happening, stop it right away. Think about what the practical steps ahead, the right steps with a 360-degree vision. This is the situation now. Steps lena hai. Watch out. Don't create problems, disturbances, agitations. Don't make impulsive decisions. And then, so on that basis, our prana gets stabilized and the sattva gun is increased. It reaches a state of sattvic equilibrium. We talked about that also. Santosha will open sattvic equilibrium. And from sattvic equilibrium, we'll be prepared for more sadhana, more connection with Paramatma. And from that, by grace, by krupa, because we want that krupa to take us out of sattva gun into the gunatit avastha. गुणों से बाहर निकल जाना, वो साक्षात्कार की स्थिति है. ये ब्रह्म परब्रह्म का साक्षात्कार इसमें होता है. भगवान को आप देख सकते हैं. भगवान स्वयं, he comes to you and takes you out of the 3 gunas of Maya. It is 9 o'clock, so we are on time. Let's stop here for now. We'll do the closing mantra. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarvakarishu Sarvada. Om Ganganapade Namaha. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Deva Maheshwara Guru Deva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Karashanakritam Va Kayajam Karmajam Va Shravananajam Va Manasam Va Paradam Vihitam Va Sarvameta Shamasva Jai Jai Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Om Divalingaya Nama Urdalingaya Nama Anandalingaya Nama Dvadesh Jyotirlingaya Nama Nama Om Aim Brim Klim Chamundaya Viche Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharani Trambake Devi Narayani Namostu Te Om Hrim Swaha Shri Radha Krishna Arpanamastu.